On New Year's Eve, I was holding my favorite barbecue ribs and thought of visiting my grandfather's grave. As a result, I didn't find the grave, but was kidnapped by a group of stowaways and sent to the compound, threatening to supply me to the big brother as a mistress. Looking at the more and more familiar environment, I shuddered. Damn, isn't this Damien's stronghold? 3 years ago, I was tortured by this incubus of his so much that I couldn't get out of bed for 3 days, and it was so hard to escape from this underbelly. But now I'm even tied back up again. If Damien finds out about this, I'm afraid I'll never want to get out of bed. Point 1. What are you moving for? Stay still or I'll cut off your skin and feed it to the dogs now. Before my eyes was dark, the person who spoke kicked me in the heart. The pain of my blood flowed backward. I can't figure out how I can be kidnapped even if I go to a grave in this peaceful world. The black cloth in front of my eyes obediently fell. The man in front of me was fierce. Even the boys sitting around had various styles of totems tattooed on their bodies. I was a little frightened. Big brother, you guys arrested the wrong person. I'm just a little girl who went to the grave on the way. There is no injustice or enmity here. You guys just let me go. The man in the lead snorted coldly. Are you kidding? You ain't received money and sent you to work. The person on the photo is you. I can see wrong. The man pinched a photo. It was exactly the headshot on my diploma. My brain buzzed. I didn't realize that the Ant family's hatred for me had reached this point. Ever since grandfather died, Ant has been hogging the family estate and not leaving. This year, cousin got married. She even had the idea of selling the family estate to add dowry to cousin. As the granddaughter of grandfather, I rushed back as soon as I heard the news. I was so happy to see the family estate in front of me that I couldn't let her sell it. Aunt was so angry that she pointed her finger at me and said that she would sell it to me sooner or later. At that time, I just thought she was talking big. But I didn't realize that she actually took advantage of the time when I was visiting my grandfather's grave to sell me as a black laborer, and she even used kidnapping as a way to do it. Thinking that the family estate will be demolished, I was furious and frantically tore the twine from my hands. You are violating my right to personal freedom. If you guys just let me go now, I can still pretend this never happened, and it's my aunt who promised you guys to go to work. And you're going to tie and bind her to go. Shut up. Without waiting for me to respond, a mouth slapped towards my cheek. In the next second, a rusty taste came out of my mouth and I spat out a trail of bloody foam. What else is there to say after you've already taken the money? You must work here to cover your debt or don't even think about leaving. I was in so much pain that tears were falling down my face. But it was useless to say anything now. The only way was to rely on myself to put together a way to live. I stared at the road outside the motor trike, contemplating. A wave of familiarity washed over me until I could see the boundary road signs. The cluttered road became clearer and clearer. I didn't react until I saw the sign that I will never forget. This was the lair of the incubus Damien. I managed to escape from here 3 years ago. And now I've actually been sent back. Thinking about the days and nights of 3 years ago, my entire body went cold. A ball of dry heat rises reflexively in my body. 2. Damn it. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and get off. The motor trike stops where it is and the man in charge kicks me out of the car, interrupting my thoughts. The small stones knocked me all over my body and hurt. Looking at the menacing men in front of me, I bit the molar. Dogs are polite to me. Your head but my body under the dog. If let him know that you do this to me. Guaranteed to throw you into the gator pit to feed the crocodile. As the words fell, the people around them instantly burst out laughing like thunder. Just a little bitch like you still dares to fantasize about our boss. Who knows that our boss is heartless and has no desire? He hasn't touched a woman in 3 years. You, a bitchy dog that was sold by your family for $3,000, still dare to say that you are our boss woman. I think you're really tired of living. The man kicked me hard. Since you like our headquarters gator pit so much, then you will go clean the gator pit tonight. And if you can come back alive tomorrow, they'll have the mercy to let you meet our headquarters so that you can recognize your own identity. My soul shook as images of the gator pit popped into my brain's memory. 4 years ago, there was a punk in headquarters who heard about the Damien's secret mistress. Curious about what I looked like, he felt into my house in the middle of the night and tried to plot against me. That night, Damien dragged me to the fish and fed me to the fish. Damien is a brutal man who loves to see the creatures kill each other. That's why he starves the crocodiles for 3 or 2 days before feeding them. So as soon as the man was thrown into the pool, he was instantly torn apart. For the sake of excitement, Damien pressed me against the glass and forced me to watch the crocodiles feeding. It was a scene that I have remembered vividly ever since. I froze in place, my mind filled with that horrible image. The man in front of me, however, laughed. That's all it takes to get scared. I thought you were so bold. But it turns out you're just a talk big monster. In that case, you'll go to the pleasure den tonight and serve your brother well, and if you behave well, they'll even be merciful and let you meet our leader. The man pulled my hair with an evil smile and dragged me towards the headquarters. Pleasure den. That's a massage place specially prepared for Damien Incubus Juniors. Once you enter there, you'll either be played to death or become an invalid. I'm not going. I want to see Damien. If he knows that you want to send his woman to the pleasure den, he will surely kill you. I struggled for my life and took a bite out of the man's tiger's mouth. Crimson gums appeared on his hand at first. Damn. How dare you bite me, you bitch. He shook his hand and slapped me across the face, throwing me 10 meters. Randomly, he reached back and unbuckled his belt. I let you into the pleasure den for your enjoyment. Since you don't appreciate it, then you'll taste the pleasure of having your skin split open first. The sound of breaking wind came from my ears, and each stroke tore me apart with pain. Scarlet bloodstains soaked all over my body. I gritted my teeth, not even having the strength to hiss. I want to see Damien. See your mom, see. Come on, people. Throw her out of the gator pit. I've been coming to the headquarters for 3 years. I have not seen such a hard bone. Today I will see. Is your bone hard? Or is the crocodile's teeth hard? With an order, 2 blonde-eyed men dragged me towards the gator pit. I'm not going. I'm Damien's woman. If you dare to get me killed, Damien will make sure you feel the worst death. I was picking at the corner of the wall. My 10 fingers were bloodied by the stones. Just looking at it was horrible to the extreme. At that moment, someone suddenly shouted, "The head of the family is back. The head of the family is back." The 2 blondies who were holding me up instantly panicked. Hurry up and clean up these bloodstains. The boss has a cleanliness fetish and hates it when we get blood all over the floor. With that said, the few men around me threw me into a small dark room and hurriedly rinsed up the blood on the floor. My head was buzzing, but I could clearly hear something outside the room. What's the point of making the campground all watery? If someone slips and falls, we'll have to waste medical resources again. I could hear it. It was Damien's voice. The blood in my entire body boils at this moment. If only Damien could see me, I would surely be saved. I braced myself to get up from the ground and lunged straight for the window. Damien. The blondie guarding me was startled and rushed to cover my mouth. Damn it. Is the name of our danger man something you can call a bitch? How dare you call him a dog? I think you woman just owes a beating. He threw me hard on the ground and kicked me several times. I saw the right moment and grabbed his pants leg and yanked it. Blondie fell heavily to the ground. All that commotion finally caught Damien's attention. What's going on in that house? 3. It's the live goat that the third master bought for you. It's being slaughtered right now. There's a bit of a commotion. Damien nodded as the sound faded away. The door to the small dark room was opened at that moment. Damn. You've become a prisoner, but you still dare to make such a big commotion. The visitor snapped 2 slaps on my face, knocking off 2 molar. 2 teeth were stuffed into my mouth with 2 pieces of rags before I could spit them out. After some torture, I had no strength left to resist. Like a pile of mud lying on the ground, panting. The man saw that I was honest, crushed saliva, raised his foot ready to go. I saw the right moment to kick him in the calf. The man fell to the ground with a thud. I immediately held him hostage, with just picked up the stone chip against his jugular. At this moment, my whole body had no strength left, if he wanted to fight me hard. I'm bound to be unable to fight. So I can only gamble on whether or not he's a person who is greedy for life and afraid of death. Damn, dead woman. Just you also want to hold me hostage? The man snorted, his eyes full of mockery. I didn't talk nonsense. The movement of my hand was forceful. His neck instantly cut a slit. Seeing beads of blood emerge, he immediately panicked. Wait, what do you want to say straight? Don't be impulsive. I seized the moment to immediately make a demand. I want to see Damien. This time the man lost his previous arrogance. Even nodded. Okay. I will take you to see him. I snapped and breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the bet was right. Otherwise, today I am afraid to die here. But it doesn't matter. As long as I meet Damien, this life of mine can be saved. Even if I'm tossed around until I can't get out of bed. I'll admit it. But at that moment, several men suddenly poured in at the door. My vigilance instantly raised, carrying the man in my hands and said, "Don't come over, or I'll kill him." The man in the lead sneered, pulling out a knife and stabbing it directly into the man's heart, ending his life. Before I could react, the man's blood had already sprayed all over my face. Useless waste. A big man still can't beat a woman. Then simply die. The other recognizes take her down for me. The man gave an order. The rest of the people directly pounced on me and pressed me to death. The stone tablets simultaneously detached, sending me flying out of my hands. I was so pressed that I couldn't breathe. The despair in the bottom of my heart was like a tidal wave, gushing up. Could it be that I, Serena, could only die in Damien's stronghold today? What are you doing? Damien's voice sounded in the doorway. My heart fluttered, and as much aggravation as I could muster swept from my chest. But the dozen or so men on top of me pinned me down so tightly that fragmented syllables couldn't piece together a complete sentence as they leaped from my throat. Boss. This sheep chosen on the 3rd day was too stubborn and tried to escape just now. So it's being dealt with. The man at the head of the table had a fawning voice. Handle it crisply. Damien's voice was cool. But my eyes widened. Damien. I am Serena Awe. With Damien's departure, took away the last trace of light. The house was once again plunged into darkness. The man in the lead viciously cupped my chin, laughing harshly. Didn't you want to see our dang? Why don't you say anything now that you've seen us? Still claiming to be the woman of the Dongjia. You see that people don't even recognize you. He tossed my head aside. Incredibly disgusted, he wiped his hands. To prevent me from escaping, the man once again tied me into a dumpling. Run. If you have the guts, go on running. Hurt my people and make such a big commotion. You'll stay here to make up for it for the rest of your life. He kicked me hard. At this time, a phone rang. The man saw the caller ID and his gaze instantly gentled a few times. What's wrong, little baby? Miss me again? He let out a lewd laugh. In broad daylight. What nonsense are you talking about? People just want to ask if you've dealt with Serena's woman cleanly. You promised people that you wouldn't let her walk out of there alive. The woman's voice in the earpiece was extremely delicate. I, however, had my soul shaken. Looking up at the scarred man in front of me, it turned out that he was the golden son-in-law that Aunt had spoken of, the man that my cousin who sold her family estate also wanted to marry. I was so excited that I couldn't wait to curse her ancestors. But the rag in my mouth only made me whimper. Damn it, dead to the world. Don't you stop. The man kicked me in the side of the head, and the intense pain caused me to black out, instantly fainting. At this time, the door was suddenly slammed open. Seeing the visitor, the man quickly hung up the phone and smiled a flattering smile. Boss Xiao, what brings you here? Xiao Jing looked around and said coldly. The boss had an attack and is now in desperate need of a woman. Wasn't the boss' illness cured 3 years ago? Why is it suddenly, again? Good my ass. It's because the boss has suppressed not touching a woman for these 3 years that he will break out today. Don't talk nonsense. I know you have newly captured a woman. Hurry to send her over. The man clenched his hand, somewhat embarrassed. But doesn't Pleasure Den also have a lot of women? Xiao Ern's temper wasn't good. A slap on the man's head. The women of Pleasure Den have long been played rotten. You let the boss sleep with that kind of woman. Is life don't even want. Less nonsense. Give you half an hour to send this woman over. Otherwise you'll wait for your head to move. Xiao Chao snorted coldly and turned around to leave. The scarred man was a bit embarrassed. Blondie beside him had a bright idea. Boss. Little sister-in-law's request is for us to settle this woman. But our Dongjia has not touched a woman for 3 years for that person, even if we send her there. When Dongjia regains his senses early tomorrow morning, he will take this woman's life in order to keep the festival for that person. One way or the other, we have not only fulfilled little sister-in-law's command, but we have also made a merit with Big Boss. Isn't this 2 birds with 1 stone? The scarred man's eyes lit up and he slapped Blondie on the head. Good boy. A young man's head is good. With that, he immediately ordered me to be moved to Damien's room. I turned awake in a stupor and took in their pummeling. After a bumpy ride, I was wrapped in a blanket and thrown down heavily. A familiar woody scent burrowed into my nose, the incense I had personally mixed for Damien that year. Opening my eyes, a pair of scarlet eyes crashed into mine. Damien, I am Xia. Before my words fell, I was already entangled by several tentacles and lifted high into the air. At this moment Damien has long been controlled by his own desire. Without waiting for me to speak, the hot body heat instantly wrapped me up. Arrow. No, you're not her. I promised her that I won't touch other women except her. Get out. Damien's voice is hoarse, subconsciously resisting me. But as the full moon hung in the air, the last vestige of his sanity was completely erased. A hot and overbearing dark energy invaded my body. That is the exclusive power of Incubus. Not ordinary people can withstand. Not to mention Damien also suppressed for 3 years. But I'm different. I've been with Damien for 5 years. Every day and night, I've been taken by him endlessly. So I've long been able to adapt to everything he has to offer. I removed the last vestige of my clothing and wrapped his charmed breath tightly around me until it was completely digested. After the agitation, the man finally calms down. I look at Damien in my arms and drop a kiss on his forehead. Damien, I'm back. Damien's long, slender lashes fluttered slightly, as if responding to something from me. When I woke up again, I didn't know how many days had passed. The sunlight hit me, and the red marks Damien left on my body last night remained intact. At that moment, there was the sound of a small conversation outside the door. Who told you to send her to my bed? I promised Zoe that I would not force myself on anyone else. How could you all make me break my vow? Damien was annoyed. Dang. We're also looking out for your life. You've suppressed yourself for 3 years. If you don't release it, you'll just end up exploding. So what? Even if I die, I can't fail Zoe. Damien's tone was resolute. My heart warmed. I didn't realize that after 3 years, he still remembered his promise to me. Thinking of last night's madness, my cheeks blushed. I skillfully opened my closet and picked out my favorite dress. Softly calling out, "Mingyu, I don't blame you." The discussion in the front room came to an abrupt halt. The bedroom door slammed open. Damien stood in the doorway, a trance flashing in his eyes. Without waiting for me to speak, Scarab arrowed forward and slapped me to the ground. "Bitch, who allowed you to wear our sister-in-law's clothes? Why don't you hurry up and take it off for me?" The fiery slap made my head buzz. However, he turned a blind eye to it, and even looked at me with more killing intent in his gaze. It was then that I remembered that after escaping Damien back then, I had purposely changed my face in case I was found by him again. However, I didn't want the former method of self-preservation to become an obstacle for me to recognize Damien today. "What are you waiting for? Why don't you hurry up and strip off her clothes and pull her out to settle it?" Xiao Ern set aside his face, not even willing to give me a look, but once upon a time he was the one who obeyed me the most. Seeing the surrounding minions surrounded in unison, I shouted in a hurry, Serena." The people present instantly froze in place. Even Xiao Ern cast a scrutinizing gaze. I quickly explained, "I got a facelift when I went back. And you know, no one but me could survive after sharing a room with you all these years." At that, Damien finally bothered to give me a proper look. "Bullshit. Even though we've only met sister-in-law a few times, we know what she looks like." Seeing Damien move, the scarred man instantly panicked. "Boss, don't believe her words. This woman is tricky. It's likely that she heard her sister-in-law's name from someone else, so she impersonated and lied to you." Damien pondered for a moment and suddenly remembered that he did call out Serena's name when he was moved. The scarred man saw Damien's silence and his heart rejoiced. Immediately, he proceeded. "Impersonating a madam and still dare to scream here. Even throwing into the gator pit is considered cheap. Men, drag this woman to the pleasure den and let her know the price of offending her sister-in-law." Yes. The crowd instantly became interested, and their gazes toward me were filled with aggression. After all, a woman who had shared a bed with a pure incubus only grew in charm. More than a few people wanted to taste it. I completely panicked and backed away frantically. "Damien, you said you would protect me for the rest of my life. Now that your men are defiling me, are you going to just leave it alone?" Damien froze in place. Reacting, he came up quickly and kicked away the perimeter. Crouching down, he grabbed me by the neck and said, "How did you know what I said to Zoe? Say, where did you get her?" Damien's eyes went scarlet and his fangs grew sharp on either side. I gasped for breath from the chokehold and slapped at his handsome face. Damien skimmed his face at the blow. I didn't gather my strength, and his pale cheeks instantly reddened to a patch. "Damn, how dare you hit our Damien?" Scarface, holding an axe, came up and tried to chop me, but was frozen in place by Xiao Ern's slap. "Mr. Xiao, what are you doing here? Get lost. When is it your turn to talk here?" Scarface dared not say anything, can only bite the molar silently exit the door. Looking at Damien who ate the slap hard, he was inexplicably a little uneasy in his heart. Can't it be that this woman is really Serena? Blondie saw his boss suffer defeat and rushed to comfort him. "Boss, don't worry. I think the one in charge just wants to take care of this woman by himself. That's why he dismissed all of us. And don't you forget, this woman is the woman who slept with the head of the family outside of sister-in-law. She will definitely die." Hearing this, the scarred man instantly felt much more at ease. "But the house. Damien, who had been slapped by me, was filled with shock. After slowing down, there was instantly more watery mist in her gaze towards me. Are you really Zoe? I didn't answer and unceremoniously slapped him again on the other half of his face. This time, Damien instantly snapped out of it. Yes, 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 that's the force, that's the angle, Zoe, I finally found you. His eyes were full of tears as he wrapped me into his arms, excited like a child. Xiao turned his back and couldn't bear to watch. Damien's love for being abused was something that only Xiao and I knew. In those years with Damien, I was forced to turn into a violent maniac. Not only do I have to put up with Damien's inhuman desires, but I also have to rack my brain to find ways to abuse him. Later, I was so tired that I chose to run away. And today, these 2 slaps are considered to give him a good beating. After recognizing each other, Damien hugged me and talked about his suffering for the whole morning. When I rested, ready to go home to find aunt and cousin to settle the score. When I opened the door, I saw a row of people kneeling on the ground. Sister-in-law, this group of animals is the people who hurt you in the beginning, whether to throw into the gator pit or pull to the back of the mountain to bury. All at your command. Xiao lowered his head and waited for me to give the order. When the scarred man heard this, he was so scared that he cowed out and slapped. It's me who had no eyes to recognize sister-in-law. I'm guilty. I accept the punishment. But this is all something that bitch Vivian ordered me to do. She said that she would marry me as long as I made a cousin for her. But I didn't expect that her cousin was you. The scarred man knocked his head with a clunk, and in no time at all his head was covered in blood. Then if her cousin wasn't me, you could kill at will, right? My voice was cold. No, it can't be. Sister-in-law, I'm wrong. Please spare my life. I'll tie up that bitch for you right now and redeem myself. Enough. Still say so much what? All thrown to the back of the mountain and buried. Dare to touch my lady. I'm too dirty to feed a crocodile. Damien appeared from behind me, and with one sentence, he directly sentenced them to death. Zoe, don't worry. Your cousin and aunt, I've already ordered to catch them. Dare to hit you. I, Damien, will definitely not let them go. I quickly grabbed his sleeve. But they are in the country. You will be implicated if you cross the border to arrest them with such fanfare. Damien laughed. Where did I say anything about crossing the border? It's obvious that they're the ones who are up to the task of coming over. I was a little confused. Just then I heard Xiao suddenly come to report. Boss, I've already sent the message out. The day after tomorrow, as soon as they set foot in the restaurant, we'll be able to kill them all. I looked at Damien in confusion. They mean... Damien smiled mysteriously. The day after tomorrow, they'll take you to see the big show. 7. Originally I didn't understand what Damien meant. Until stepping into the restaurant. In the toilet Vivian touched the face. Why are you here? Cousin's face went white. As if he had seen a ghost in broad daylight. The enemies met, and their eyes were red. I looked at this woman who wanted to put me to death. Biting tightly molar. Cousin got married. I, as a sister, naturally have to be there, don't I? In order to prevent me from faulting the wedding, my sister also specially asked someone to pick me up in advance. This good intention of yours. I haven't thanked you yet. I smiled grimly, frightening Vivian so much that the blood color on her face instantly faded. I don't understand what you're saying. Today is my big wedding day, whether you're a human or a ghost. Get the hell out of my way right now or don't blame me for being rude. I laughed in anger. I didn't realize she was still treating me like a ghost. Cousin was horrified until Aunt rushed to her. Mom, can you see her? She's actually... Aunt was equally startled to see me, but glanced at the shadow behind me and randomly calmed down. Heh. Little bitch, didn't think I'd let you get out. Since you came back alive and still managed to find this place. Just stay obediently for your cousin's wedding. Anyway, the old family mansion has been sold by me a long time ago. Even if you make a fuss now. It's useless if you don't want to get killed here. Just be honest. Aunt glared threateningly. Hearing that family estate has been sold, I was enraged. Since I can find you guys alive, I'm not afraid of your damaging tricks. Can you get me killed again? A sentence pissed off aunt came up and wanted to give me a slap. But was cousin dead pull? Mom, don't be impulsive. The wedding banquet is about to start. Scar is still waiting for me, and their big boss will also come to watch the ceremony. You mustn't make things worse because of this little bitch. At the sound of the voice, Aunt withdrew her hand and glared at me viciously. For the sake of Ying Ying's big wedding, they'll let you off the hook for now today. If you dare to make trouble, I definitely won't let you off lightly. Vivian sighed in relief and hurriedly pulled her own mother back to the bridal lounge. I looked at their distant backs and smiled disdainfully. At this time, my cell phone vibrated. It was a message from Damien. Go to the banquet hall to watch the ceremony. The good show will start soon. At the banquet, everyone complimented each other. I sat in the corner, quietly watching. Have you heard? Today's bride is the one that Brother Knife married from China. That face is not normally pretty. If you get to pick on stage, it could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can really dare to say, who doesn't know that Brother Knife is most precious to this woman? If he knows that you hit the attention of other people's wives, beware that he will carry you back to the compound and feed you to the sharks. I furrowed my brows. Damien's compound has always been off limits to others. Not to mention that he has long since changed his ways and ordered his subordinates not to kill anyone. But this Scar's disobedience is not enough. He actually has so much power to bring others in and out of the compound as he pleases. Isn't Damien the head of the compound? This Scar has so much power. I inquired carefully and the man smiled contemptuously. You're from the bride's family, aren't you? No wonder you don't understand. Our zone is supposed to be dominated by gray business. Damien has to be in the orthodox industry. So he'll be eaten up sooner or later if he's so unique. But Blade is different. When he kills his master, the compound won't be his call. I hear he's just about ready to do it tonight. My soul shook. No wonder Damien wanted to bury Scar alive. So he had already recognized his treasonous intentions. And this wedding banquet today is the ambush feast that Scar has specially arranged for Damien. I looked around and instantly had an idea in my heart. I looked around and instantly had an idea in my mind. I didn't wait for me to find Damien and ask him about it. The lights in the banquet hall suddenly went out, and the wedding march was played. The crowd was puzzled. Isn't this groom not there yet? How come it's starting? At this time, the door was pushed open. Standing in the doorway with a white gown was my long-lost cousin Vivian. And beside her was the aunt who sold me for money. The lights were on Vivian. She shyly pinched her hand bouquet and stepped forward. But froze the moment she raised her eyes. Where's Scar? Aunt squinted ahead. Yeah, it's already time. Where did he go? The guests were in disarray. Scar's family and friends were shocked. Didn't he say he went to receive the bride? Did you guys not see him? Bullshit. We haven't seen him since before we entered the hotel. I thought he was in the front hall with you guys. Aunt was furious. Could it be that this asshole thing could be preparing to run away from the wedding? Cousin's hand bouquet plummeted, looking around like a wandering soul. Serena, isn't that you? You're the only person Scar has touched since yesterday. You were tied up by him and managed to escape unharmed. Say, what the hell did you do with him? She hissed as she clutched the collar of my shirt with her gaze. I slapped her hand away as I asked, just don't know. After all, the password was not given by me. The person is even more not buried by me. Everything has nothing to do with me. But Vivian doesn't believe me. If Scar is fine, then why didn't he come to the wedding site? I know. It must be you who seduced my husband. Otherwise how could he let you go? And left me here. I'll beat you to death, you vixen. She raised her hand and tried to slap me, but I tackled her with my backhand. I said no means no. Scar's death had nothing to do with me in the first place. At those words, Vivian suddenly deflated. What did you say? Scar is dead. 8. Bitch. You must have caused him to die. I want you to pay for his death. Vivian's eyes turned scarlet. And she pulled out a knife from somewhere and was about to stab at me. At the critical moment, Vivian was suddenly kicked out. Aunt was shocked. Ing, my good daughter. Who actually hit my daughter? Aunt gritted her teeth and shouted in a stern voice. Looking back, she only saw a man with an extraordinary temperament, standing in the backlight. Gu Dongjia, a man in the crowd shouted. The crowd then reacted and immediately bowed their heads in greeting in unison. Good day. Boss Gu. Vivian's eyes instantly widened a few points when she saw the visitor. She didn't expect Scar's boss to actually be such a young and handsome man. Thinking of Scar's face, she cursed herself twice. But still, it was like seeing a savior, pulling Damien to commiserate. Brother Gu, you must take revenge for Scar. It's her. This woman killed Scar and even came to our wedding to cause trouble. Poor Scar is nowhere to be heard from. We don't even know if he's dead or alive. Vivian rose from the ground, covering her wound, and laboriously walked over to Damien and knelt before him. Pulling at the corner of his coat, she wiped her tears pitifully. But Damien was unmoved. Vivian frowned slightly and continued. Brother Gu, we, Scar, have worked under you, and have done our best and been loyal all these years. Even if you don't want to take the trouble to find his corpse, you have to severely punish this bitch. Vivian's tone was sticky. Stretching out her slender 5 fingers, she wanted to take Damien's hand. But he dodged it straight away. Heh, loyal, indeed, Damien sneered, but Vivian's eyes lit up. Immediately riding the wave of victory. You see, she doesn't respect you at all. When she sees you, a big shot, she doesn't even greet you. Someone who defies your authority like that, even if they don't die, they should be dragged out to be drawn and quartered. At the sound of his voice, a flash of astonishment appeared in the eyes of the guests around him. Brother Blade's little daughter-in-law looks delicate and weak, but I didn't expect to be so ruthless. Damien, however, laughed. Handle her. Who gave you the guts? Vivian's eyes flashed with disbelief. What do you mean by that? Damien didn't answer and took a long step toward me. Reaching straight up, he wrapped me in his arms. Is my Damien's wife someone you can just kill? I think the one who really scorns me is you. Vivian immediately froze in place. Xiao Ern explained. This Miss Serena is the lady that our Dongjia searched for 3 years to retrieve. Just based on Miss Xia's words you just said, our boss' willingness to drag you to the back of the mountain and let you be buried alive with your own scarred brother is considered merciful. Xiao Ern's 2 light words instantly made Vivian go limp. Scar is really dead. 9. The people present sucked in a breath of cold air. They had all seen Damien's methods. Now that he had offended his wife, Damien would be lucky to leave Vivian's body intact. But Vivian didn't realize what kind of character she had messed with. She was still bouncing on the edge of death. Mr. Gu, I think you must have recognized the wrong person. She, Serena, is just a slutty woman. How could she be the lady you've been looking for 3 years? The fact that Damien had a lady-in-waiting that he had been looking for 3 years was something she had heard Scar mention. And had seen a picture of her in person. It didn't even look the same as Serena. though Serena had been out fighting for her life all these years. She hadn't met her since 16, but she could still remember the woman in that photo clearly. Vivian was sure in her heart, and immediately hinted to her mom to continue to arch the fire. Aunt received the signal. Immediately responded. Yes, Boss Gu, although my ungrateful niece has a few moments of beauty. She is definitely not the lady you are looking for. Moreover, she's been out on her own for all these years and has changed a lot of men. A few years ago, she didn't even return home in order to accompany an old man, and at that time, her colleagues in the northern part of the capital even called her hometown and reported her missing in action. Upon hearing this, Damien's face darkened. After all, the old man in Aunt's mouth was none other than him. Seeing Damien's bad face, Aunt's heart rejoiced and continued. So yeah, Boss Gu. How can a woman like her who has been touched by an old man be worthy of a big shot of your stature? Even touching her is considered dirtying your hands. But you see, my daughter Ying, even though she has promised your man Scar, she is still clean. She didn't sleep with any other man at all before marriage. Unlike her Serena, who has been slept with rotten, and with 3 inches of tongue, pot after pot of dirty water towards me. Damien's face is more and more ugly. The bones of his clenched fists turned white a little bit. Seeing this, Xiao Struggle hastened to open up. Big sister. Hurry up and shut up, the one who took away MS. Serena back then was our head of the family. His tone was extremely cold. Aunt's face went white. What did you say? Unbelievably, he looked at Damien and I, only to see that his face was like ice. After a long time, he spat out a sentence. I don't want to see them again. Xiao earned the order and immediately arranged for someone to come forward. The crowd sighed. These 2 mothers and daughters counted finished awe. For years ago someone crickets behind the back of Mrs. Gu was known by Boss Gu, directly pulled out the tongue. Today they crickets Mrs. Even if, but also in front of others to make yellow rumors. I'm afraid that Vivian and Aunt heard this. Instant cold sweat. Pounced on the ground and kowtowed. Boss Gu, I was wrong. I didn't know she was your wife. Otherwise we wouldn't have dared to say these unsavory words in front of you. For the sake of our ignorance, please spare us. Vivian knocked blood beads on her forehead. Now whether I am Damien's white moon or not has long ceased to matter. What matters is whether they can save their own lives. Xiao earned a cold smile. It's useless to beg for forgiveness now. You mother and daughter are evil-minded. Not only kidnapping women, but also intending to kill. Just this point alone, you can all die several times. He didn't talk nonsense and waved his hand. The people under his command immediately came forward to pull the 2 away. When the surrounding people saw the scene, those who were weak-minded and were ready to rebel against Scar immediately knelt down and admitted their mistakes. After all, after Damien disposed of Scar, he was able to personally show up at the wedding banquet. It means that he already has all the information. Showing up today was to deal with the rest of the mess. Looking at the rows of people kneeling in front of me, I looked at Damien. He was slow to give orders. It wasn't until I was out of the restaurant that I opened my mouth to find out. What are you going to do with them? Damien smiled. Matters on the road, naturally handled with the rules of the road, and